This is Yorkshire Television. It's just after 10 o'clock and we join Trevor McDonald at ITN for the World News.
From ITN, News at 10 with Trevor McDonald.
OJ in the dock. The great trial has finally begun. Europe signals the end of veal calves ordeal. Sweeping changes at the CSA, but the protests go on. At Collins Tag, police make a find on the common. Good evening. The waiting is finally over. The trial of OJ Simpson, the most famous murder suspect in American history, began this evening in Los Angeles. But just as opening statements were about to be made, there was an unexpected delay. Simpson's lawyers accused the police of concealing vital evidence. OJ Simpson, one of the greatest American football players of all time, is accused of murdering his wife Nicole and her friend Ronald Goldman. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent Michael Nicholson reports from Los Angeles.
This is America's most celebrated trial, and all those in it now, national celebrities. OJ Simpson has become America's most celebrated prisoner, and given his colour and his legend, a guilty verdict could well ignite another bout of racial violence here. It's a showpiece trial, made for television.
We're very ready. We've been ready for a long time.
Did you prepare all weekend for this?
We prepared for the last 7 months for this.
A feisty prosecutor, Marcia Clark, already at odds with Simpson's highly paid defense team. And Judge Lance Ito, battling to keep the two sides apart.
Counsel, my inclination is to direct the prosecution not to use those two items in opening statement.
It indicates the presence of blood. That's all it does.
Is to give some emotional texture to the jury, to Mr. Simpson's detriment, and I object to that.
Simpson pleads not guilty, that his ex-wife and her boyfriend were murdered by a random killer unknown. The prosecution claims he is the killer, crazed by drugs and jealousy. The jury has yet to be called in. Significantly, 8 of them are black. Race is an issue. For example, Shapiro claims the arresting officer called OJ a nigger. Clark wants the word banned for fear of alienating the black jurors. After so many months of pre-trial publicity, you have to wonder whether a fair trial and a just verdict is possible. Even now, on day one, the hype has passed from the barely believable to the frankly absurd. It's become a gavel-by-gavel TV marathon. OJ Simpson has been allowed to publish his book and even record his own video while inside jail. The defense will show OJ Simpson as Mr. Clean, the man who, with true American grit, dragged himself out of the black slums and street gangs to become one of America's greatest football heroes.
It's been our great privilege to watch OJ Simpson run.
He married Nicole Brown, wealthy, sophisticated white. They had 2 beautiful children. She was seen as the ideal mother, they the ideal couple, perfectly matched.
And she turned those years into some of the best years I've had in my life, Dave.
He entered America's Hall of Fame, became a millionaire sports personality. It was more fairy tale than Hollywood itself, except the reality was sordid. It was fouled by drug abuse, infidelity, and as Nicole's telephone calls to the police reveal, wife beating.
Did you just do somebody over here? What is he doing there? He's just all up in here. He's throwing me over.
Nicole divorced OJ, and on June 12th last year, her body and that of her boyfriend were found stabbed to death. She was almost decapitated.
Mr. Simpson is a fugitive of justice right now.
The police chase for the prime suspect was followed live on television. OJ driving through the streets of Los Angeles, holding a gun to his head, threatening suicide.
All along Sunset Boulevard, there are people stopped as well ahead of the chase.
All this will now be heard as evidence in court if it's not swamped by the welter of publicity. A Texas company is now selling its own computerized version of how Nicole was killed, basing its animation on police evidence. And as Hollywood awaits its own OJ film premiere, actors and actresses are being auditioned for the Broadway play.
I'm at LA Men's Central Jail.
I just cannot take the pain anymore.
An hour ago, the court adjourned. The jurors are expected to begin hearing this case shortly.
And for the latest from the LA courthouse, we are joined now by Michael Nicholson from our studio in Los Angeles. Michael, tell us about this dramatic plan by OJ's defense to have him address the jury in the opening statements.
Well, that is the sensation of the day, Trevor, as if you need any further sensations in this trial. The jury is about to come back in about a half an hour's time, and OJ has asked to appeal to them to make a speech to them directly. Now, this is completely off the cuff. Nobody expected it. The defense have obviously kept it as a trump up their sleeve. The prosecution is devastated. It'll have to be, we all know, the performance of his life. He will be appealing to the 8 black members of that 12 jurors.
Now, Mike, is there still the underlying fear that there could be an outbreak of racial violence, as in the case of Rodney King some time ago, if OJ Simpson is found guilty and convicted of this offence?
That's absolutely right, Trevor. I think all America knows this, and that's why this trial has become so sensational and so watched. The American judicial system is as much on trial here, we see, as OJ Simpson himself. You see, if he's found guilty, there could be a repeat, as you said, of the Rodney King violence, the worst this city's ever seen. If he's acquitted, then white America will see it as the court system succumbing to blackmail.
Michael Nicholson in Los Angeles, thank you. The Agriculture Secretary William Waldegrave had good news from Brussels for animal rights protesters tonight. Veal crates are about to be banned throughout Europe. The minister said his European colleagues had agreed to speed up a review of veal calf rearing and bring it to an end within 4 months. Mr. Waldegrave said farmers in the veal business should get out quickly. Our Europe correspondent Jonathan Monroe reports from Brussels.
Veal calves living their short lives in Belgian crates. Their meat is better this way, say local farmers, but the practice is doomed, according to Britain's Agriculture Minister, who said tonight there wasn't a single voice raised in favour of the crates at a European ministers' meeting.
It sends a signal out to the industry that the days of veal crates are numbered, whatever happens, and that people with investment of that kind had better get out of that business because this council isn't going to protect them.
Ban the veal crates now!
Animal rights activists welcome the news that ministers have ordered an urgent review of veal crates, bringing forward a report scheduled for 1997. Tonight the RSPCA warned Mr. Waldegrave that the report must lead to action.
If he can press that home in the next few months and get new directives in place and get these matters resolved to protect these animals once and for all, I think he'll get a big pat on the back from the British public.
Mr. Waldegrave said it was important now to make sure that commissioning a report did not lead to unnecessary delay, and that is a real danger. Member states who have a powerful farming lobby may find it easy to have a report written, but far more difficult to act upon it. Jonathan Monroe, News at 10, Brussels.
The Child Support Agency was given another chance today to repair its tarnished reputation. The rules about how it should function were more or less rewritten by the Social Security Secretary Peter Lilly. Among the changes, the agency will now take into account of clean break settlements, and absent parents won't have to pay more than a third of their incomes. Here's our Home Affairs editor, Jennifer Nadel.
Persistent protest has led to radical reform. Forced to climb down in an attempt to appease the vocal lobby of absent parents, the government today announced a package of reforms to the Child Support Agency.
I believe our proposals will enable the system to achieve its original purpose. They will make maintenance assessments fairer, improve the service offered by the agency, and ensure that maintenance assessed becomes maintenance paid.
The key changes include a new formula to take account of clean break settlements and other costs such as housing for second families and travel to work, an independent appeal